Welcome back, everybody. Today's story, we're going to be reading something to do with this hood that is red, but it's got a twist to it. I know you're going to say Red Riding Hood, but this has a little bit of twist to it. We're going to read a story called Little Red Riding Hood and the Dragon. This is a little bit of twist to Little Red Riding Hood, someone's own little version that they made up in their mind about Little Red Riding Hood. And the person that wrote it is Ying Chang, my tongue tied there, Compestine. And it's illustrated by Joy Ang. Let's read about Little Red Riding Hood and the Dragon. Put my glasses on so I can see the story. By now, you have probably heard the old folk tale about a little girl in a red cap. She and her grandmother were gobbled up by a wolf, but were rescued by a woodsman. The truth is that the tale took place here in China. There wasn't a woodsman, and I, the gentle wolf, certainly was not the one who ate them. Here is the real story. So now the wolf is telling the story. Once upon a time, there lived a little girl in a village near the Great Wall. It's called the Great Wall of China. When her grandmother, Nanai, that's how they say grandmother in Mandarin, sewed her a red silk hood for her kung fu performances, she loved it so much that she wore it everywhere. People began to call her Little Red Riding Hood, or Little Red. One day, Little Red and her mother heard that Nanai was sick. They gathered herbs and cooked a pungent soup. Then they baked a big sweet rice cake. Her mother put the soup and cake into a basket and said, "Take this to Nanai. Stay on the path and don't talk to strangers." "Don't worry, Mommy." Little Red drew her sword and leaped into a flying back kick. "I'm a good kung fu fighter. I can protect myself." She picked up the basket and ran out of the house. So her grandma's feeling really sick, and they decided they were going to make some soup. Some people simply drink chicken soup, eat chicken soup when they're not feeling well. And some people make up different types of stuff that they throw into a soup that they say will help make somebody feel better. And the soup, when they say pungent, meaning it's a smelly type of soup. It doesn't smell very good, but it's supposed to be very healthy for you. Little Red stayed on the path and soon saw her grandmother's house in the distance. Suddenly, a dragon blocked her way. "Where are you going, little girl?" Dragon asked in a sweet voice. "To my grandmother's," she answered. "Where does she live?" "There." She pointed to a little red house in the shadow of the Great Wall. Dragon moved closer. "What's in your basket?" "A rice cake and herbal soup for my sick grandma." "P.U. Is that awful smell coming from the soup?" Dragon pinched his nose and stepped back. "Yes, but it'll help her get better," said Little Red. So sometimes when you take medicine, it doesn't taste very good, but you know it's going to help you. And that's the herbal medicine soup. "That smelly soup will only make her sicker," laughed the dragon. "You know what would make your grandma better?" "Ginseng. My mother and I looked for it, but we couldn't find any." "Well, there's a big ginseng root over under that old tree. Dragon pointed to the forest. Oh, thank you. I must get it for my grandma. Little Red forgot what her mother had told her and ran off the path. Remember, her mother said, don't go off of the path and don't talk to strangers. Well, one, she's already talked to the stranger, which is the dragon, and two, now she's going off the path. Meanwhile, Dragon hurried to Nanai's house and knocked on the door. Is that you, my little Red Riding Hood? Yes, Nanai, said Dragon in a high-pitched voice. Come in, my dear. I'm too weak to get up. Dragon burst into the house. Without a word, he leaped over to Nanai and swallowed her whole. Then he put on one of her nightgowns and caps and slid under the bed covers. When Little Red reached Nanai's house, she was surprised to find the door halfway open. Nanai, she called out. Who is it? Asked a hoarse voice. It's me, Little Red. I brought you something special. Oh, my dear, come, come. In the dark room, Little Red saw Nanai's nightcap peeking out of the blankets of the bed. Nanai, what happened to your voice? Oh, my dear, I'm sick with a sore throat. I dug a ginseng root for you. It will help you get better. Oh, my dear. A large hand reached for the ginseng. Now, ginseng, and when you have a very hoarse throat, for sure, if you make it into a tea, it's going to help your throat not be scratchy and hurt. It's going to help when you drink that. Nanai, what large hands you have. Oh, my dear, all the better to hold you with. And Nanai, what big eyes you have. Oh, my dear, all better to see you with. And Nanai, what big teeth you have. Oh, my dear. All the better to eat you with. Dragon gobbled up the Little Red and battered her basket and topped it off with the ginseng. Sometimes they eat ginseng at the end of a meal. Little Red slid down Dragon's throat and landed on something soft. Who's at the bottom? It's who? It's the grandma, right? It's Nanai. Nanai, shouted Little Red. Oh no, he ate you too, cried Nanai. Don't cry, Nanai. Little Red hugged her grandma. Look at everything he has gobbled up. Little Red rummaged through the piles in Dragon's tummy. How will we get out of here? Sobbed Nanai. You rest, Nanai. I have an idea. Little Red pulled a yo-yo from the heap, twirled it around, and flung it high. The yo-yo bounced off the dragon's stomach above her head. Dragon yelped, eyes wide open, with surprise. Ugh. So he's feeling that banging and everything inside, going, ugh. Taking the ribbons in her hand, Little Red spun around, drawing circles in the air. Soft silk tickled Dragon's belly, making him quiver and gasp for breath. So he's being tickled inside by the soft ribbon. Little Red blew on the suna and hard as she could while Nanai pounded on the drums. Dragon was so startled that he covered his ears and ran out of the house. He just can't take the noise anymore. And then Little Red did her very best kung fu moves and axe kicks, crescent kicks, and roundhouse kicks. Dragon roared in pain. Arr, arr, arr. So she's doing all her karates inside the dragon's tummy. Little Red splashed the herbal soup around. Remember, it was pungent, it was stinky PU soup. Dragon's tummy churned like a wild sea. Churned meaning his stomach starting to hurt, starting to feel sick. He gasped and retched. Then up came the soup in the yo-yo, ribbon, music, instruments, nanai, and at last Little Red Riding Hood, sword in hand. So now he's like, and he goes, bleh, right? He just can't take all the pounding and the kicks in the stomach. He just got so sick because now he had that soup in him. Little Red jumped in front of Dragon and ordered, scram! Get out of here! And Dragon did. Till this day, dragons stay far away from girls and red capes. I know because I saw it firsthand. Now, that's the real story. I don't know how people ended up with a silly folktale that gave me, a gentle wolf, a bad reputation. So I kind of laugh because if you know these stories, Little Red Riding Hood with the wolf, the big bad wolf, and if you know another story, it's called The Three Pigs, 1, 2, 3, and the big bad wolf. So she is telling the three pigs. Remember the other story? It's the straw house, the stick house, and the brick house. Each one has those houses. So that is another fairy tale that is very popular. The end. So if you liked this version of Little Red Riding Hood and the Dragon, check out this book, or you can go purchase it. This one I have checked out. Didn't get a chance to check to see if this was an AR book, but if so, I will put it inside the comments and let you know that way. So if you like this story, I have several other videos to do, and some that I have published. Please, if you really will click on follow this YouTube channel and share it with other people who have children or around children at any point in time during the day. I would greatly appreciate that. And check all the links out below. Gives you different avenues that you can check, that things that do relate to this YouTube channel. So you all have a good evening. See you in the next video. Bye.